Hello friends, and today we finally ranked every Five Nights at Freddy's game. Now, how this is going to work is I'm going to rank every game based on my own personal experience, and only the games I've played so that the rankings are fair. So, let's hop right in with the game that started it all, Fnaf 1. Now, this game created the mode on what made FNAF special and is my personal favorite out of all the games. From the office, the animatronics, the atmosphere, and the idea of Chuck E. Cheese being a horror game is what made this game truly special. Now, the only issue I can point out is that the fact that the game is RNG based, and once you play the game after a while and you died a lot, the game starts to become numb on you. However, besides that though, this game is nostalgic and beautiful and is an easy S tier. Now, next up is FNAF 2. FNAF 2 shaped the story for the franchise and created the lore that we all know and love. It brought to life the story of the 5 missing kids of Freddy's that brought horror to a whole new level, and then upgraded the atmosphere of what the original game did. However, this game is more RNG based than the first, and unfortunately, this game feels rather frustrating rather than scary. And because of that, the horror element is gone because of it. Now, that doesn't mean that this game is bad by any means. It's far from that. This game is beautiful. However, this game is enjoyable to play due to the fact that the difficulty of the game being so high, and the fear element is gone as well because of it. And not to mention, half of the game is more RNG based than a 4, and I say this again because unfortunately you could either get lucky with the nights being easy, or you could just have some of the worst nights you ever possibly can. And because of all these factors in mind, I am going to put the game in A tier. Now, if the game with the difficulty was toned down a little, I would most certainly put this above FNAF 1, but this isn't the case here, unfortunately. Now, with FNAF 3, this game is a bit underrated, and I say this as the game was the first in the series to bring multiple endings, and the game toned down the RNG needed and balanced it in a way that you have some skill put into the game. The game also built upon the lore even more than the last game, as we see we have so much more minigames that have secrets to tell. The design for Springtrap is by far the best design in the series, and the backstory of Springtrap is also the best and most creative thing that you could possibly think of for the villain of this franchise. The game has good synergy with The Office, much like the first game. And unlike the second game, the creepy atmosphere and the horror aspect of the franchise is back and is still there, even if you die multiple times. However, the issue that people have with it are that the fact that the designs for the Phantoms are just lazy, and the jump scares for Springtrap are also lazy as well. The other issue I can point out is, yes, there is some skill to be put in the game. However, there is a huge cheese for the game that just makes this game be put on easy mode. But also, the game feels rather clunky and not as fluent as the other 2 releases that we had. And also, the other animatronics are just pests for the player, while Springtrap is the main concern. Some of these points I can understand. However, people judge this game too much and fail to see the strengths that this game has, and I also did the same thing. But then people overlook the second game's weaknesses and overhype it. Now, this game is not perfect whatsoever. However, the lore, the multiple endings, the horror aspect of the game coming back, and the fact that this game is actually fun to play is something that many seem to not recognize for the game. And because of that, I'm putting the game in S tier, but behind the first game. Now, we got FNAF 4. To be honest, Fnaf 4 is surprisingly really good, and it is by far, in my opinion, the scariest game in the series. The story is very intriguing to see, and the extra lore that you get with the game is cool to see as well. But also the introduction of the Bite of 83, also the perspective changing from becoming a night guard to a child is also a really cool creative idea that I actually do like. But also, the many ways to play with the introduction of blind mode just makes this game even more fun to play during Halloween. Also, speaking of Halloween, this game was the first to have DLC. But also, this game changed the fate of FNAF forever, as we got the box ending that was changed by Scott due to the dream theory going around at the time, but also because of the future backlash that Scott may get because of that box ending. Also, this is the only game in the series to have 8 nights instead of the typical 7 we get with the games except FNAF 3. The only issue I can see for the game is that the fact that the game tries too hard to be scary, but also this game makes you play as a kid with a lobotomy. Besides this though, this game is another game that's joining its brothers in S tier. Next, we got Sister Location. Now, much like the third game, this game is another that gets a lot of hate, and the reason is that the fact that this game is so different from the others, but also only has the old mechanics in the secret or custom nights. And me personally, the fact that you get all this knowledge from the other 4 games only to be thrown away in the 5th installment, it kind of disappointed me a little. However, this game was the first to have voice acting and was the first to shift the gameplay while still having the horror aspect of the series and keeping it in the universe of FNAF, while also confirming that Springtrap did indeed survive the fire of Fazbear's Fright, but also bringing the lore of the books or Silver Eyes into the main series as well. And also, this game is another that has multiple endings as well. And because of this, it's just another S tier right in the middle. And on to Pizzeria Simulator. Like the 5th game, this game did something different while still being placed in the FNAF universe, but also was the first to have 5 to 6 endings, and was the first to actually allow the player to create their own pizzeria to their own liking. Not to mention, the ending speech of Henry is by far the saddest moment in the series, but also this game tried to fill in some of the holes for the lore. And because of that, S tier you go, my friend. Now, on to the last games on our list, Ultimate Custom Night and Help Wanted. With the introduction of Ultimate Custom Night, it gave everyone a challenge, and it was the first game in the series that had all the characters except a select few in one game, and was also the first to introduce 50-20 mode. The only issue I can definitely see is that the fact that this game has some of its challenges thrown out the window because of the death coin, but also because of the power-ups that you get at the end of the nights. Now, this is going to be put in A tier as well, only because that this game is just a simulator game, and the fear aspect is gone because of it. Now, finally, we got Help Wanted, and I gotta say this right now, this was such a refreshing game to play. An official VR game with the first 3 games brought to life with some bits of the other games here and there, but in twists. It brought the fear aspect back, and it put it to the max. The lore in this game was interesting to say the least, and it made the game even more interesting was that the fact that we had Glitch Trap, the consciousness of William Afton. And also, much like FNAF 4, this game also has DLC built up around Halloween, and it is done so perfectly with introducing FNAF 4 into this game. With this in mind, however, this game is going in S tier. And that is all of the games for now until we get more games, which is going to happen sooner or later. But that is all for me for now, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you want more content like this, then please subscribe for more horror content like this in the near future. Now, I will see you all in the next one. Take care and God bless.